see, and this is quite interesting, a multiplicity of sites where contractors have resumed work. How is this happening? Are they all mobilized, and if it's the case, to what extent, in Naira terms, have you mobilized the road contractors across the country, and how many of them?
My ministry has received 107 billion naira in first quarter. We've paid 73 to those contractors you see. So it's 73 billion that is just creating that energy. So it's like water after walking through the desert.
Interesting.
And of course, the meetings I've had with them, the appeals I've made to them, that they should please just go back to site, irrespective of the dynamics that have changed in pricing, and that it is worse for them to keep equipment idle. And we need them to start re-employing people. So, from Sokoto, Kotangora, Kano, Katsina, Kano, Maiduguri, Enugu, Port Harcourt, we had a problem at the bridgehead in Asaba, which I had to call our contractor there to quickly intervene on the promise that they will be paid, because it was causing mile-long traffics. So, but this is what is happening now. All the way down, the Boko, Makodi, Loko, Weto Bridge, Second Niger Bridge, is lack of payment. So, all you are just seeing is the impact of 73 billion naira, the integrity of the president and his government, and the belief that if we give our word, we will keep it.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's the drug.
Do you have assurances from finance that you'll actually be able to keep your word?
Oh yes, we will do our best. It's the difference between daylight and darkness, really. 73 billion that has been paid to 18 billion that was budgeted and wasn't paid.
Yeah.
While we were coordinating an economy. Yeah. So that's the difference. There's some cash moving around, so there's quarrying activity again. Water is moving, tankers are moving, men are back to work. So that's the way out of this negative growth. So when you now start seeing MBS releasing figures for second quarter, these are figures that cover the economy up to 30th of June. As at 30th of June, we had just started paying, because the budget was passed on the 6th or 5th of May. The warrants were issued on the 14th of June.
Interesting.
And then, of course, the process of paying is not budget pass go. We now have to approve. So I sit there every day approving files. Process for voucher, disbursement, and so it's still going.
Is there a way of quantifying the job creation and economic activity?
I am collecting the numbers. I am collecting the numbers. The president wants it, I want it, economic, everybody wants it. Because that's why then we will be able to tell you that this was what caused the problem in the past. Security, lack of budget implementation was what caused the problem that has led us. What we are seeing now is a symptom of what we did yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So how do we cure, reflate the economy? Yeah. When you start to do that, we should also be able to measure. So every contractor is filing returns to us of how many people they have employed on site.
Some key road projects that stir significant emotion in Nigeria. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, for instance, the second Niger Bridge, which the Igbos regard as, if you deliver that, then they would believe that the war has ended. And then, of course, you have a few others: the Calabar to Aba Road, Ibadan, Bomosho Road, and of course, Boko, Makati. These are things that, in some states, probably the biggest sign of federal government presence in those states. how are you coping with this one? So we can start with Lagos Ibadan, where significant work.
They fall within the categories of those roads that we didn't just budget for, largely. So there was no money, so contractors left site. Generally, wherever our contractors have received money and they're not yet back to site, is because of weather constraints.
Okay.
So as soon as we go into dry period, you will get more traction.
What the over 400 billion naira allotted to your three sectors doing while drawing up the budget is not what it is today, because the value of that has diminished. So can you give us an idea of what your scale of preference looks like as regards resource allocation?
Let me make this point. There is never a 100% budget implementation.
That's true.
Let's also, you owe us that obligation to advise the public. So what do? As money comes in, we move it to contractors who have earned it. So we are moving away from it's budgeted for me, it's not going to be spent.
So it will now be on the basis of efficiency and performance. Yeah.
Now, interestingly, you may have heard that the president was seeking some extra power. There's nothing new. There are economic issues. In the procurement law today, you can only pay a contractor 15% advance payment.
Yeah.
For construction work, it is not useful.
Yeah, you can't start anything.
So one of the powers the president is seeking is to increase that to 50%. You have seen, for example, that under the procurement law, you need to advertise for 6 weeks, and all that. The president is seeking to have that reduced to 3 weeks. And those are essentially the content of that. To galvanize the economy is the stimulus emergency part. Just use emergency, not necessarily to suggest any thing. Those are, if you read through.
We did an editorial, and the editorial says it will be useful.
Yeah. You see, you're talking about investors, and there is powers there for issuance of on-the-spot visas, but action is not being taken. President is now saying that, look, certain departments must do so. There are departments of government where you want to obtain things, and it takes forever. You don't know what's happening. President is now saying, no, if people need permits from you, publish the number of days within which you will issue those permits. If you don't issue them within those days, the public must treat them as having been issued.
Okay.
If you don't issue a rejection, the public must treat them as having been issued. If you issue a rejection, you must say why. And if you don't say why, the public will treat them as having been issued. A particular ministry is then designated to go and give that. So these are the powers for the benefit of the public, for the benefit of the economy. Because these are the problems that we inherited. So we have over-legislated our development. BPP, due process, end process. But in the event, it didn't save us money.
That's true.
It didn't stop corruption. What it simply did was to slow down our development.